Hey, Tony Gaskins here. My son just sent me this little meme, and it was a black guy. It looked like an old school picture, but it was a real picture, like a black guy sitting there on the couch with his hands on his face, looking at the TV, and the white girl beside him, leaning on his arm, hugging him. And the little thing above is their head say NFL draft picks waiting to be drafted. And, it just kind of playing on the black guy, white girl thing. And then there was a guy who got drafted, he looked African descent, a big boy. And his mama was sitting beside him. And I think she had on traditional African clothes. And then beside her was a white girl, which was his girlfriend, I'm guessing, because she was super happy and clapping and kept reaching over, touching his leg. And and ironically, one of my homeboys right now texting me. He is of African descent, I think Nigerian. His wife looks white, but she actually Hispanic. But she looked white. I thought she was white, but she's some type of Hispanic. But I was just kind of wondering because they running off with this. They playing on this online of just like the black athlete with the white woman, the black athlete with the white woman. And yes, we see it a lot, but it's really becoming a thing. And like in a sense of like everybody is noticing it. White people, black people, Hispanic people. So like when you see these draft videos, I think I saw two of them, and both of the black guys had a white woman. And I'm just kind of curious because I can't wrap my head around it. And so I'm curious as to what's your thought on it, because I know it's probably a myriad of reasons. Forgive me if I'm saying that wrong. Myriad of reasons, but in my very first book, What Daddy Never Told His Little Girl, I answered 10 questions from women. From one of the questions was, why do black guys date white girls? And where I'm from, the reasoning was like, for me, it was like rebellion. It was kind of like there's racial lines, but we're not being hung anymore and hosed down with the fire hose and attack dogs, but it still was prejudice and racial lines. So for me, it was like, I'm gonna date this white girl, more so sleep with this white girl to get back at these racist men. And it was kind of like a rebellion thing. On the other side of it, for black guys who was raised around a bunch of black guys, it was that. And then the other side of it was economic advancement on that child level, the high school level. Because I remember one time being my cousin, I think he's 5 years older than me. And I think he's 5 grades ahead of me. And he had a white girl. And I was young, so let's say I'm 7th grade, he 12th grade. And he was living at my house. He had a very tumultuous situation at home with his mama, which could have led to it as well. Because after high school, he dated, I just seen all black women. But in high school, he had a white girl a couple of times. And I remember one time he came home and I was like, why you date white girls? And that just show you, like, as a young man, just how foreign it was at that time. Like, why you date white girls? And he was like, you'll understand one day. And that's all he said. And then when I got to high school, I dated two white girls. And the thing about it was, all of the black people that I knew, we was all like on the same level. So we really ain't have no money. So none of the black girls that I dated in high school, I dated four, five that I could think of in the 4 years of high school. And it could have been 6 or 7, but I dated about five that I could think of. None of them five had a car. The two white girls I dated, both of them had a car. So having that car, you got a personal chauffeur at 16 years old. You get in the car, you hit the mall, you going to Disney World, you everywhere. And then not only did they have a car, they had a bank card. And so as black folk, we ain't had no bank card. We had cash. They got a bank card. You go, they and then fashion, so you got jerseys. I think jerseys and stuff like that was in. Boom. Valentine, you get a jersey, the matching hat, you get your favorite soda. Pineapple soda was mine. Get your favorite candy, Twix or Reese cups. And so one time, I'm dating a white girl, like barely dating, like not really, you kids. And I get a text. She say, "Hey, go check your mailbox." I go out to the mailbox, and my pineapple fountain in there with my Reese cup. I say, and think about this now, as a kid now, you like, whoa, you feeling good. And so that never really could happen with a black girl because she ain't got no car. So unless she live close to you and can walk over, but then she ain't got no money. Because we all come from the same thing. Everybody tight. So the most we can afford when we was as black couple, I'm talking about where I'm from now, it's different regions. And so I really want to understand from your region why you see it happening. Now I got a homeboy who I got a car. I had got a car probably 11th grade. And it was a Cadillac my daddy gave me. And I had a homeboy that used to ride to school with me. And so when I dated the first white girl, it literally was because we played her school or something like that. And I think I had 25 points, 20 points, something like that, basketball. And then after the game, this little girl come up to me, probably 5th, 6th grade. I'm probably 10th grade. And she say, "My sister want to give you her phone number. That's her over there." And she pointed to her, and it was this white girl with long curly hair with a little bubble butt on her. And I was like, okay. So at that point, that had never happened to me before because I went to a public school right before this and then been in public school my whole life, kindergarten through 9th grade. That had never happened. So I'm like, man, this is crazy. Like, but that is how I notice a lot of times white girls would do. They would date a black guy, but he have to be the star athlete. He got to be. So here I am, the number one athlete in this private school sector. I'm averaging about 20 points a game. We beating her school. I'm scoring 20 to 25 points every time we play their school. So then it's like her stunting on the black boys who go to her school and saying, "I'm dating the guy who giving y'all the business instead of dating y'all chumps." And the black guys on her team, one of them was taller than me. I guess she didn't want them, or maybe they had talked in the past or something, but she kind of had a little funny looking nose on her. She had a little skinny, pointy nose. And then she had a lot of forehead. And then her hair was real kind of thin and laid to her head. It wasn't voluminous. And then she had a booty that was like probably twice the size of your normal white girl. And she played volleyball and I think maybe softball. I don't know if she played basketball, but she was like an athlete. But she looked kind of funny. And it wasn't your typical blonde hair, blue eyes. I think she was like brown hair, dark brown eyes. And so a lot of white guys, they really didn't, they was more so into the blonde hair, blue eyes. And then they didn't like back then, they didn't like a booty on the booty that you see white women have today on Instagram that they showcasing in the gym when they doing their little squats and stuff. That's the booty she had, and this was in the year 2000. Back then, booty on a white girl was not in. They wanted to be flat as a board because you were seen as fat if you had a booty or like out of shape. That was exclusively for black girls. And so that was my personal reasoning back then was I've always been a gold digger. The reason why I married my wife was because she was not the reason, other than her being wife material, but one of the things that sold me, she was a biomedical science major. So I was like, oh, I'm fit to get to be a stay-at-home dad. I'm fit to be with a. I said, what you want to do? So what is that? I ain't know what biomedical was. It just sounded serious. I'm like, so what is that? Because most girls you meet in college, they are social worker major, criminal justice, social work, different little sociology, African American history, and just all I'm hearing is broke, 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 broke. What you could do with that, broke? When I meet my wife and she say biomedical science, I'm like, oh, okay. So yeah, tell me a little more about that. So what do you want to do with that? I had to put a proper accent on when she said that. She said, "Well, I want to be a doctor." I said, "Okay." Now her sister is a doctor, and her other sister is a lawyer. So it just me came in and messed her life up, and so now I'm paying all the bills because I derailed her life, and she got pregnant with our first son when she was like a junior in college. And she still finished, got her master, her bachelor's, then got her master's. But then our son was sickly. And so the med school she was gonna go to, I think was in Tennessee or something. And she just was like, it's gonna require so much, but our son requires so much. I can't leave him in her head, she can't leave him to me, for me to be taking care of him while she's studying 16 hours a day. And she made a decision to just, you know, be with our son. And then he required so much attention because he was in an intensive care unit for the first 3 months, came home on a feeding tube. So me personally, that's why I was dating white girls in high school and college, because before I met my wife, because I was getting money. And that's just the honest truth. It was, for me, it wasn't a thing of like, because I couldn't relate to him because I have a country accent now, but some people tell me I ain't got no country accent if they come from like a country place. They could understand me perfectly fine. And I could speak relatively proper, but back then my accent was way worse. And so I didn't really relate to the white girls, and I didn't really, it wasn't a thing for me of like a inferiority. Like, I think you're better than a black woman, because in my heart of hearts, I always wanted to marry a woman of color. I honestly did not want to marry a woman my wife's color. When I met her, that was to be like a one night stand. But then in our first conversation, we talked for 6 hours. And I realized she was my wife in that first conversation. But she was a little too light for me. Even though her and my mom are the same color, I just, after being, after having a white girl in college who slept with five other black guys while me and her was talking, I wanted the darkest thing I could get. I was looking for somebody chocolate. 12:01 a.m. You hear me? That's what I was looking for. So my next girlfriend, she was about my color, a shade darker, so give or take depending on the season. But that was kind of awkward for me because she was from California. And so she taught white, what we call taught white. She was like a white girl in with black skin. And so I was like, this a little different. And she was a Muslim. I'm a Christian. And she was a wild child because she's from LA, Los Angeles. And so she was a wild child. So We in the club one time, one weekend, and I see her over on the other side. We had just started talking not long ago. I see her hitting the dude blunt. I'm like, oh, this old bollywop. What in the world? And then, you know, she had a little issue she had going on, and it worked past that. But then it just was too much going on. And it was after that, I got kicked off the football team and she transferred schools, and I was with her kind of sort of when I met my wife. And as soon as I met my wife, not as soon as I met her, but when we sat down, we had that conversation. I called her and I said, "Hey, we done. Hey, we done. Oh, I was over you anyways." Click. Had the folded phone, then had the flip phone, then click. And me and my wife, got together. So for me, that was the end of it. I was 21 years old. The last time I had been with a white girl was when I was 19. So probably 18, 19. And no, probably 18. And so that was the end of it. And I still knew and kept in touch with the other two white girls from high school. Like, they still knew me or keep tabs or whatever. But other than that, I couldn't wrap my head around it. But one thing, what I was going to say is my daddy bought me a car. And I had a little homeboy that his mama would drop him off to my house, and he would ride to school with me. We was going to the private school. Well, this homeboy, me and him still cool today. He have a white wife. Well, when he was driving to school with me, that's when I was dating the white volleyball player. His wife today looked almost identical to that white volleyball player I dated in high school. And when I talked to him, he say, I think he told me one time, bro, I got a white girl because I seen you with a white girl. And then I had dealt with white women because I remember my cousin dealing with white women when I was in middle school. He was in high school. And I think it was like an exploration type thing. And we ain't talking about nothing new. I mean, this has been happening since the beginning of time. People, they used to call it jungle fever back in the day. It ain't like this, something new. It's been happening since, since slavery. That's why it's a lot of biracial people from slavery times, because the black man sleeping with the slave, sleeping with the master daughter, the master sleeping with one of his slaves, vice versa. A lot going on. And then, of course, right after that, I think it was Jack Johnson, the boxer, who made it very popular. He had a bunch of white women. And then we know O.J. Simpson, so even back in the day, O.J. Simpson, God rest his soul, and his ex-wife's soul, and the other man's soul, we knew O.J., they made that popular. So it was athletes way back then making that interracial stuff popular. But what I'm trying to wonder is right now today, where you have black women of means. So it's not like back in the day where the white girls were the only ones with money, unless it was an anomaly. But I mean, like, of course, there were some black girls who had a car, who had money, but it was few and far in between in most places, I would assume, just because of our racial disparity and income disparity. Even today, black people net worth is very low, according to the consensus and all of that. But today we have a lot of, like, black women are leading in college degrees, which don't necessarily mean money. And if a white woman got generational wealth or whatever, her daddy owned a business, she come from money. And so I'm wondering, why is it so many black men today deliberately choosing a white woman? Because it ain't like all of them just organically met this woman in a lab, in a lab group or study group, and they just hit it off. But so a lot of it gotta be a deliberate choice. of why they choosing a white woman over a black woman. And is it what they see of black women? Now, I'm gonna tell you, and this one thing we not gonna be able to get. Now, I don't know if there's such a thing as white Twitter, but we know there's such a thing as black Twitter. And I don't know if there's a white gossip page other than like TMZ, because they got white people involved with it. But the gossip pages, we got countless gossip pages in the black race, because black people see a way to make money, and because we don't have a lot of ways to make money, haven't been shown a lot of ways to make money, we just jump on whatever bandwagon out there. So after I kind of blew up, that's when a million other black male life coaches, relationship coaches popped up. When I first started, nobody was doing what I'm doing. Nobody. Not a single soul. I had not one example to emulate or look up to. Not a single soul was doing it. 2 years later, Steve Harvey wrote a book. A couple years later, a year or two later, that's when all these different guys started popping up. Boop, 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 boop. Everybody popped up after that, because it's like we don't have a lot of ways. So if they see something work for somebody, when we see something work, so black people see the Shade Room take off. So now Hollywood Unlocked, Media Takeout, Bossip, Baller Alert, all these other pages just gossip, just celebrity gossip. And then when you go to the comments, it's full of black women. It's black men too. But the comments be so toxic, so negative, so messy, that it really make black women look bad. I have not found that same space on Instagram where the comment section is full of toxicity from white women or Asian women. And I'm sure it probably exists out there, but if you're a black man, you typically in your circles, in your space online, and you just get to see so much of this twisted mindset. I also have not seen the equivalent of these, like I will see these little snippets online where it's like a black woman walking down and she looking at the black men and they like choosing each other or not. And then vice versa, the other way around, they choosing each other or not. And I have not seen that same type of random social media thing with the white race or with the Hispanic or with the Asian. And so I feel like because of how social media works, social media takes the most negative thing and it highlights it. Just like so many women saying men go after these women with these bad bodies. When you go look at every black marriage that you know, you might be able to find 1 out of 10 where the woman got one of these BBL bodies. Black men are not going after these women who is built like an ant. But for some reason, women keep saying that when it's not actually true. So that lets me know that this is a social media narrative. This is something that's being portrayed on social media that people are believing. And I believe that that is the reason why so many of these black athletes are going to other races, because of what they see the most portrayed about black women online. Like, there will be a black lady who look like she fell off the back of the tomato truck, and she'll be on a video complaining about this man ain't get her this money, or he ain't get his money, or he only wanted to spend this, or he wanted to go to Cheesecake Factory, and it just make black women as a whole look like trash, when this one woman is just completely delirious. She's just dumb and attention seeking. And you'll see 10, 20 different of these videos of just this hood black girl sitting in the front seat of her car complaining about a man wanting to take her to cheesecake on the first date, or complaining about she met this man yesterday and she told him today she going to get her nails done and he ain't offered to pay for it, so she blocked him. And you'll see this go. And so what it does is it make black women look petty. It make black women look greedy. It make black women look money hungry. So these black men coming into money, if they ain't already have a high school sweetheart before they come into this money, I think, this my reasoning, I think they looking and saying, I'm going to get somebody who got money and who is not known to be messy, but yet they not thinking about the Jonathan Majors situation. They not thinking about all the different situations where a black man has been accused of domestic violence, or a black man is being accused of rape or whatever. They ain't thinking about that narrative that's out there. They looking at their ecosystem, what they see on social media, and the portrayal that they see the most of black women. And they going off of that. And now, like I was gonna say, now the young boy that used to ride with me, my homeboy, he got him a white wife, and I was his first like close encounter with an older black male on a daily basis. And then he saw me dating that white girl, and they thought she was bad because they was in 6th grade. I was in 10th grade. And so they thought she was like, woo, woo. Like they thought she was amazing, when really to me, she was like, had a really nice body, but nothing special. But it's like when you young, you look at it different. And then I'm the star player. So I'm the star player. So at that time, they looking at me like I'm Michael Jordan. And then, so I validated that. And that was me not even thinking. And I broke up with the white girl when my other little homeboy, who was in the 6th grade, he was our varsity point guard. He played varsity with us. His dad was white and his mom was black. And his dad was his dad was like a black white guy. Like he's white, but he talked black. And his energy was black. And then his mom was like a white black lady. She was black, but she talked more white. And I know some of y'all get offended about this, talk that, but that's just how we describe it when you from areas like where I'm from. You just get out your feelings and shut up and stay out my comments and don't get blocked. Let's get the point of what's being said. And so it was an interesting dynamic. And he wrote a essay called Oreo. And he said he feel like an Oreo because he said he love his dad and he love his mom. But he don't feel white enough for the white people, and he don't feel black enough for the black people. And he feel like he got to choose a side, whether he want to be black or whether he want to be white, because he don't feel accepted being half and half. And he let me read his essay because he looked up to me. He was like, hey, wrote an essay, man. Check it out. What you think about it? So we walk into practice. I'm reading the essay. My heart started to break. I called a young lady. I said, hey, we got to break up. She was like, why? What do you mean? What do you mean? I said, listen, I just read such and such essay. His parents is, he biracial. His dad white, his mom black. And just what he going through mentally and emotionally. I said, I can't be with somebody that and have no child and have my child go through that. I said, I ain't gonna better do it. No, that's not right. No, that is not right. Don't do this. Please do not do this. We can fight. We can fight this thing. If you love me and I love you, we can make this happen. I said, listen, I ain't gonna be able to do it. So I broke up with her. We hadn't been talking 6 months. She held on. I talked to her 4 years later, and she was saying, we've been together for 4 years. I'm like, in the hell of 4 years, child, I broke with you 3.5 years ago. So she kept counting. And her daddy went to my daddy church. My dad was a pastor for 7 years of my life. And he went to my dad at church and said, hey, man, our kids are dating. He was like, but, we really can't have that, and I want to talk to you about it because you know how people are in this world. I'm not like that now. My best friend is black, but you know how people are in this world. Like, my daughter won't get a job if they find out she has a black boyfriend. She won't get a college scholarship if they find out she has a black boyfriend. And my daddy came home and told me the whole conversation verbatim. I called her and told her, I said, hey, that's what your daddy done said now. You know what? I hate my dad. I don't care what my dad says. I will move out right now. I said, listen, I'm not finna get hung. Okay? Your daddy said you can't have no black boyfriend. You can't have no black boyfriend. Okay? I get what he's saying. I get it. Listen. I don't know why she was so strong on it, but it could have been because she gave her virginity to me. And that could have been where she probably had this thing of like, whoever I give my virginity to, that's who I'm going to marry. Could have been that type of thing. But I'm just curious, what you thinking, because I know some of it comes with self-hate. Oh, the other thing what I was going to say with that young man, my homeboy who got a white wife, he was raised in the white neighborhood. So, the store, that's the store I was talking about that I wanted to mention in my last video, going out of business, Express. So, my homeboy, he wore Express. Now, look up Express clothing store if you don't know what it is. But they basically dress like European, like just slacks, cardigans, sweaters, blazers. My homeboy, I remember we was somewhere doing something. And I was like, hey, bro, I like the little outfit you got on, man. Where you get that from? He was like, oh, this is Express. Okay, you got money. Because that Express, when I went in there as an adult, that's what I used to wear at the beginning of my speaking career. I would wear Express, and it would be like $100 per item. Everything you buy would be like $100. And so it was like a step up. So my homeboy wore Express, and he had a white girlfriend in college. And he was a star basketball player in college and played against Steph Curry in college. D1 player, big arena, started, good player. So again, he meet a white girl. They hit it off. But for him, I always justified it as he's the type of black guy that unless he met a black woman like Candace Owens, he wouldn't get along with a black girl from like where we from. And the most black women that he would meet, he wouldn't, on average, he wouldn't be able to relate to him because he was raised in an all-white neighborhood. And he did not come from any type of struggle. And it wasn't as common. It happened, but out there where he lived, there was no black girls in that neighborhood. I actually dated a white girl out there. I forgot about her. That was the third white girl who lived out there in that neighborhood, in his neighborhood. There was no black girls in that neighborhood. And so the black girls where we was from, they was hood. When I tell you they will whoop your behind, my cousin pretty much had a draw, which basically got whooped. Because if you get in a fist fight with a girl and it looked like a draw, you lost that. You lost that. But where we from, just the women was different. I had a fight with a white girl in the 9th grade. She swung on me. Just, I don't know. I said something she ain't like. She hit me. She had a class ring on and hit me right in the jaw. Lord forgive me, I had hit her with a 6-piece. Lord forgive me. But that's how it was. You will get drugged. Well, when I say drug, I don't mean drug. I'm telling you, you will get mollywop. you will get stomped out by a girl where we was from. And so the black girls, they was too rough around the edges for him. Like cause he talked proper and he dressed proper and he 2-parent household, his mom high up, high position in the school board, school district. His dad is a college head basketball coach. Like his life was unrelatable to all of the black girls that he grew up around. Like nobody could really relate to that. And so sometimes and that's what I seen with the one NFL draft pick. He looked very like private school all his life. Like even when he got the call, when he hung up the phone, let's say Detroit Lions. See how I said Detroit Lions? I'm saying Detroit. You hear that Troy and then Lions. I ain't saying Lions. Lions, you think I'm saying Lines. This guy, the black guy, he got a phone. Well, I think it's gonna be the Detroit Lions. But he said it's so proper. I said this boy been in private school his whole life. He sound like my sons. And so that's another thing with my sons. Like I have to like talk to them and be like, make sure they love themselves. Make sure they love themselves. Make sure they know that if you want to have children who look like you, that's your color or that's your genetics or got your ancestry, because their mama is black and Indian, and then I'm black. And I could be a little bit of Seminole or Cherokee or something, but we don't know on my side of the family. We don't know my history. But his mama, she black and Indian. So I had to talk to my oldest son and say, listen, I know you've been in private school your whole life, and there's no black girls at your school that you attracted to or what have you. But if you want a black woman that can relate to you, and that was raised like you, have the values like you, she exists. You just got to get out of the microcosm that you in. So don't worry about dating in high school. Like our biggest thing right now is just him meeting a young lady that he could take to prom next year. But he's never had a girlfriend. And any female conversation that he have is with white girls because that's at his school. And I'm not finna put my son in one of the ghetto public schools just so he could meet a black girl. It's like, no, I value his education. And if it ain't enough black people there, oh well. I'm worried about my son getting the best education possible. And our public school system is trash. And so I told him, wait till you get to college. So we went to Yale for an ID camp. And when we get in the building, in the first 30 minutes, we saw 2 black girls. One was about his complexion, and one was about my complexion. I said, see there, son? This Yale, Ivy League, and they got black girls. So if that's what you want, then you just got to wait. And I don't have nothing against, white people or anything like that. My best friend that I feel like done been there the most for me is a white guy. And like I said, my homeboy, he got a white wife. My other homeboy got a white wife. My other homeboy got a white wife. So me touching on this is hard for me to touch on it because they could see this video and feel away. Like, oh man, Tony Hayes, no, Tony Hayes, because I'm in an interracial relationship. But they know I'm going to keep it real across the board. Now, me personally, I would, if my sons meet a woman and fall in love, I'm going to make sure that it's love. If she white or Hispanic or whatever, I'm going to make sure it's love. And if she black, and if she is stereotypical black and she ghetto, I'm going to tell her. I'm going to say, listen, man, you ghetto. And you're going to have to get your act together. You're going to have to learn how to dress. You're going to learn how to talk. You're going to have to learn how to act. Because I ain't finna let my son be with you. And if he is be with you, y'all ain't getting no help from me. If you finna be around here ghettified, and if she white, I'm finna say, listen, hey, do you love my son for who he is, or you love him because he an athlete and because he come from money? Because I ain't playing with you. And see, listen, my son, they gonna want to swing on me because whoever they bring home, she got to hear from me. Just like if I had a daughter and she brought a boy home, hey, listen to me, what you trying to do? What do you really want with this right here? Listen, they gonna be mad. My wife gonna be mad with me. I might almost come this close. I might have to go through a divorce because I'm gonna speak my mind. No, I'm not leaving no inheritance to no ill union. And that's one thing parents do wrong is we don't talk to our children enough. A lot of times our children make bad choices because they don't know no better. They don't know love. They don't know relationships. And if we ain't sat down and really talked to them, that's why I got so many people subscribe to me on YouTube. And I'm talking about relationships because most people, they dad or they mom never went this in depth on relationship dynamics, regardless of their race or color. And so that's why this is a thing. And so this is the thing. I'm gonna talk to my kids, and I don't care if they don't like it. And I'm gonna tell my wife, listen, I'm gonna tell her, listen, I'm gonna say what I got to say because absolutely not. I ain't finna just have no anybody married into my family because that's what they do. That's what they do. That's what white people do. Just like that white man went to my daddy and told him, can't have it. The other white girl I dated in high school, her daddy went to her and told her, can't have it. Crazy Rich Asians, the movie. That mama and grandma and all that, they try to tell him, you can't. He was dating an Asian, and they were trying to tell him, you can't date her because she broke. She come from a single parent household. You can't be with her. And so it's like every other culture look out for their children and make sure that this is an organic thing. In the Crazy Rich Asians movie, when the mama realized this was real love, she went on ahead and got over herself and she okayed her son being with her. But at first she was checking them. Like, hey, hold on now, what we doing now? What going on, boy? And so that's the thing, is like a lot of time we just be so happy for our child to have somebody when it's like, listen, you worthy enough to get anybody you want out here. It might take some time. It might take you working on yourself, but you don't have to just jump at the first thing coming. And you got to make sure that whoever come to you first or second is really there for you and not there for your perks and what you got going on. And so the thing about it right now is my son, my oldest son, I don't know if he's gonna go pro. I don't know if he's gonna go pro. Like, and I don't care if he go pro. If I don't care, as long as he working and it's legal and he using his gifts, pursuing his passion, I'm cool with it. Same with my youngest son. But let's say one of them go pro, or let's say both of them go pro. At this very moment right now, my son, he don't have a single white girl checking for him at his school. If he do, he ain't telling me about it. And he ain't got no one black girl checking for him either. And he says because he ain't had a growth spurt. And he say the girls only concerned with height. They only concerned with height, that you got to be minimum 5'8". And they really want 6 foot. And so it just go to show how they don't know nothing about love. If that's their number one focus first is height. And so I'm going to remind him of that. So if he mess around and he go D1, which is the highest level of university, if he go D1, and then if he mess around and he go pro, and one of these white girls pop out from his high school and talking about they always had a crush on him, I'm going to say, listen, that's absolutely not. I say, you want to date her, you want to be with her, you done lost your daddy. Hey, you know, black parents now, we got to get a little toxic every now and then. My daddy pulled that on me to keep me out of the Army. I was about to go to the Army and be an airborne ranger. I had no clue what an airborne ranger. I thank God that my daddy told me, son, if you go to the Army, I'll kill myself. That is the most, that you call it what you want to call it. Toxic, narcissistic, manipulative, but he saved my life. He saved my life. Cause he say, son, if you go to the army and George Bush is in office right now, you going to war. George Bush gonna send you to war. And a airborne ranger, son, you going to die. And he hit me with another low blow. And your wife is gonna cheat on you. I was like, my goodness. Wife gonna cheat on me, then I'm gonna die? And you gonna kill yourself? Alright. Cancel it. I had to took my ass out. I had to did a little fitness test. I had to now about sign the dotted line. I was gone. And then when daddy they pulled that on me, I biked out. So listen, my son, if he about to get finesse, I'm gonna say, son, all right, you want to get finesse? I'm telling you, you know I know better. You know I can read people. You know I slept with over 100 women before I got married. You know I know a woman better than any one of y'all now. This woman here is a gold digger. And I don't care what if she black, white, Hispanic. If she a gold digger, I'm going to call out. If she ain't got pure intention, I'm going to call out. If I could tell that this ain't the type of woman that would have liked my son when he was in high school, I'm going to call out. And I'm going to tell him, and I'm going to say, you done lost a father. Because don't call me no more. Don't ask me for nothing. I don't want to see your little raggedy kids. Hey, I would hit low now just to let them know how serious I am. I don't really mean it. I'm going to be bluffing, but I might not be bluffing, but ain't no telling with me just where my brain going to be at. Lord, bless me, be with me, Lord. Please let my head be on straight. I done had some concussions. You hear me? But listen, this is something I'm worried about, and this is something I'm thinking about because, man, I ain't worried about it as far as like the black race being diluted, but what we don't realize is the devil is busy, and if more and more of these black men get more and more of these white women, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, that could turn into a race war. That could turn into a race war. It could be a sector of white men that say, we fed up with y'all mongrels and y'all monkeys and y'all this and that messing with our women. And they just go on a spree. You just never know, man. You never know. Because it's happening now. With the young man went into the black church and shot it up. And, you know, all that stuff. In this day and age, we don't know why people doing that stuff. And so with this is like, where I be wanting to make sure is you got to talk to your son. If you got a black son and he dating a white woman, you just have to make sure that you didn't raise your son to feel like he better than black people and to feel like white people are better than black people. You got to make sure of that as a parent. And if you know you didn't do that, and you know that, and your son articulate and he says, listen, I don't think that this white woman is cleaner than a black woman, that she better than a black woman. I don't think any of that. It's just I met her and she's a super cool person and we hit it off. I don't even know if it's going to last, but for now, she's a cool person. She was there for me in a time of need and we hit it off, and that's what it is. If that's what your son say, then okay, cool. That's that. They meant to be. They meant to be. But you just have to make sure that he not dating from insecurity, from inferiority, from brokenness and stuff like that. But hey, it's Tony Gasson. What you think it is? And you know, try to check your hate. You know, try to check your insecurity, and just speak from a real articulate, well thought out perspective of what do you think it is? Do you think it's innocent? Do you think it's just happenstance? Do you think it's a plot by the white women? Do you think it's a plot by the black men? Like, what do you think it is? And they don't care what we think, and I don't care that they don't care what we think. But this about us raising our sons and daughters to make sure that they don't have an inferiority complex and that they aren't operating from self-hate. and that whoever they decide to love is from a pure place, and it's from an organic meeting that they had with this person, connection that they have with this person, and it's not from a self-hating place. But hey, this Tony Gaskin. God bless you. Getting ready to head on back to the USA. Had us a good little month over here, son. Got a lot of experience, got a lot of knowledge and test over here in the game of soccer. It's been a blessing. And we may come back over for the month of July. You never know. But I'm going to try to stay home for a little bit, and he getting ready to go on his senior season. So if one of y'all got a son or a nephew or a cousin that coach Division I soccer, let me know. I'm looking for us old scholarship here soon. Hey, God bless you. We'll talk soon.